Happy Wednesday, Houston. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro. What can you expect on this hump day? Well, you are going to have to dodge a couple more storms. We started off with some showers this morning, but they're pretty isolated. The areas that got impacted, Atascocita, Cypress, Sugar Land picked up a couple of inches. Downtown, though, stayed nice and dry. So if you live within the loop or the Beltway, even, the outskirts of Harris County were mostly dry. This morning wasn't an issue, but this afternoon might look a little bit different. Already starting to see the cloud cover building in. Bush Airport 90 degrees, a 4-degree drop from yesterday because of the cloud cover, but the humidity, oh, it's there. Dew points in the mid 70s means the actual air temperature, you got to tack on about 10 degrees for what it feels like on your skin. Feels like the triple digits. Your high temperature, actual air temperature, gets up to 94. So the heat index is probably going to get to around 103, 104. And it's a 40% chance for storms today. We drop it down to 30 for your Thursday and then ramp up the rain chances again for your Friday. Not to mention it's going to be pretty steamy on Friday. Saturday, scattered storms. I think those are going to give you the biggest downpours. And Saturday, I think we're going to have quite a bit of cloud cover overhead. So temperatures are going to stay pretty mild, low 90s. You'll max out at 92 also for your Sunday. Think about plans for the weekend, pushing them back a little bit. If I had to choose between Saturday or Sunday, I'd say Sunday is your best bet. Now, there could be a few lingering showers, but the rain is really going to taper. And better yet, plan for Monday. Monday looks spectacular. Rain drops off. Not only are we not going to see rain or clouds, we're not going to see much humidity either. We're going to see nice drier air filtering in out of the north, 5 to 10 mile an hour breeze. That'll feel nice. Maybe we all go to Galveston, high 94 degrees. If you are headed out of H-Town for Labor Day weekend, which are the areas that might give you a slowdown? Well, North Texas is expected to have some stormy weather tomorrow into Friday. Saturday looks better. Panhandle, Thursday and Friday look fine. Saturday looks a little bit stormy, and the reason being is there is going to be a front that's going to be pushing in here. By the way, that's the front that drops our humidity. For West Texas, if you're going to El Paso, you're good to go any day starting tomorrow. And if you're headed to Austin, well, you're going to have a lot of heat, but no stormy weather tomorrow through Friday. And then the cloud cover settles in for Saturday. If you're going to South Padre, no storms there, so that's good. Here's a live look at radar right now. So we've certainly seen things pick up the pace already. So mainly stormy on the south side of the loop and the Beltway with a lot of lightning. So that's in development. These storms are starting to grow in intensity. So Brookhaven to Almeda, Genoa, that's where we're seeing the biggest trouble spot right now. Brookside Village is getting hit with some heavy downpours as well. Hobby Airport, you are right in that threshold for lightning. And so for that reason, if you were catching a flight right now out of the airport, you are likely stalled out. Lightning means that the planes can't take off, so there are delays that you'll have to battle with there. Needville was seeing quite a bit of stormy weather that dropped down to Damon and New Gulf, but has now fizzled out. So just a little light moisture is all you have to deal with for your lunch hour plans. Air temperature across the area. Well, can you tell where it's been raining? I certainly can. Hobby Airport, 80 degrees, so a 10-degree drop because of the rain-cooled air. What does it feel like, though? I'll show you what it feels like across the area. Hobby Airport, 80 actually feels like 84. That's not so bad at all. Look at Sugar Land, 92, but it feels like 104. So there's a lot of heat there and a lot of humidity. And by the way, with that, we could see a couple more storms refire this afternoon. So remember, heat, humidity, that's all instability building. And if there's a little boundary that pushes through the area, it'll use that instability to bring you some downpours. Something else I want you to track this afternoon with me is air quality, especially if you pay attention to that. If you're part of the sensitive groups category, you've got just issues with your throat, maybe you deal with asthma. That's because we've got the high likelihood of some excessive ozone developing at the surface level. So that's for Harris, Brazoria, and Galveston County. This is usually where that ozone tends to pool. For the lunch hour, it's not a problem. It's not until we get to the orange the unhealthy for sensitive groups category that I then caution you to maybe not spend so much time outside. But right now we're just in the good and the moderate range, so that's fine. High temperature, like I said today, 94 degrees. I think we've got a chance for a shower until about maybe 6 o'clock. And then it's a quiet evening ahead. So if you had plans tonight, you just plan on there being some cloud cover, and then it's a mostly clear sky as we go into the overnight hours. So here's a look at future track. Storms are bubbling up, and models are doing a good job of pinpointing that. You'll notice they kind of stick around through 6, like I mentioned, and then they fizzle out. By 8, we are nice and quiet. A lone shower showing up along 59 close to El Campo, but starting to fizzle out. So here's a snapshot of the next 5 afternoons, so you get an idea of what 40% rain chance that we have today looks like. 30% looks like that, so you'll notice less coverage. 50% is because not only do we have, more rain on the map, but the intensity goes up too. You can track that by looking at the reflectivity colors. So if you see only green, it's usually tame storms. If you see a little yellow popping up there, oh yeah, we can expect a couple thunderstorms to fire off from that. And Saturday, there's good coverage, good intensity, and so that's why we hike up the rain chance to 70%. That's because a front is moving into the area that increases the tension, but the good news is behind the front, we see a nice drop in humidity. So it is going to be drier, and it is going to be much prettier. Dry air is something we enjoy, not just here for the local forecast, but it's something we enjoy to see in the tropics too. Dry, dusty air in particular. We're seeing lots of dust right now for the Caribbean, for Central America, for the Atlantic Basin, and that's due to some more Saharan dust coming off the west coast of Africa, and that's expected to continue even as we go into the middle of next week. Why do I love to see that? Well, because storm systems don't survive under really dry, dusty conditions. They need a moisture source to thrive and develop. And that brings me to the outlook for the next 7 days. I'm not expecting new development, but do check back in at least once a day just to see if there are any shifts. Remember, we track this, especially this time of year, because we are approaching the peak of hurricane season, which is September 10th. Right now, the only thing that I'm watching in the Atlantic Basin is Tropical Storm Fernan. It's got winds at 50 miles an hour, so it has been progressively getting a little bit stronger. Yesterday afternoon, I showed you the wind speeds were at 40. We expected that to happen, a brief intensification, but still just a tropical storm. It's got to get up to the 70s for it to have a shot at becoming a hurricane again. But it's not expected to do that. In fact, it's going to move into an area with slightly cooler sea surface temperatures, and with that, it will become a remnant low by tomorrow morning. It's tracking east, well away from us at 12 miles an hour. I do suspect that this is going to hold on to some moisture as it tracks towards Europe, perhaps Ireland, perhaps England, maybe France. We'll get some cloudy, stormy weather from that. A little bit of leftover moisture slung in that direction. All right, let's walk you through that 7-day forecast one more time, nice and slow. 94 for the high today, a couple of scattered storms. Rain chances become a little bit more isolated as we go into tomorrow. It's a 30% chance for you. And then on Friday, especially into Saturday, that's when we start to increase those rain chances. And that's because we've got that approaching front. So each summer afternoon, we've got the heat, we've got the humidity, we always have a storm chance, but when we have heat, humidity, and a lifting force in the forecast, like a front, then that means that showers become more organized and they could be more disruptive. So that's why we've got that storm chance hiked all the way up to 70% for your Saturday. A couple of lingering showers into Sunday, though I think the day is going to be fairly quiet, especially compared to Saturday. And then by Monday, that is when the drier air behind the front settles in, so less humidity is very nice. You'll notice temperatures are going to stay in the low 90s for this Labor Day weekend into Labor Day. And then as we go into Tuesday, we'll start to warm it up just a little bit, and we stay nice and sunny. You won't have to use your umbrella either on Monday or Tuesday. Okay, our next newscast is the 4 o'clock with meteorologist Chris Ramirez, and then Pat Kaplan is in for our Chief Meteorologist David Paul. So Pat will walk you through any weather updates coming up at 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. I am wishing you a wonderful Wednesday, and look out for those spots that got some stormy weather this afternoon. Check radar for any lightning that might slow you down.